Welcome to Rick's Corner. I got Rich Piana back, and you guys have been asking for him, and here he is. We're going to touch on subjects that you want to know, and we're going to go into some detail with him as well, right?
Yes.
And your first subject that you told me you want to talk about to all you viewers out there. Now, wait a minute. You haters, get off my channel. Get the hell out of here. I don't want you.
The haters want to tune in more than the people that like you.
Yeah, the haters like to tune in. God knows
They're
why.
obsessed.
They're obsessed. But if you are haters and you're going to find fault with us, do me a favor and send us your photos so we can criticize you. Because we know that you don't have a body. And you're just criticizing because you're jealous. So, and you guys who aren't haters, take care of those haters because you guys do it and you always defend us on it. That's really good.
Yeah, thank you.
So we want to talk about natural training versus training on medications.
Exactly.
And I like the word medication.
People always ask me, how many sets, how many reps, but it varies. It depends on, people that are cycling and people that are natural. You train differently, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course you do.
And for me, I think the guys that are decided to train natural, it's a great move, and you need to stay natural as long as you can. Build a foundation first before you start taking stuff, if you ever take stuff. And what I think is training natural, it is about the heavy weight, it is about the low reps, and it is about getting stronger. As your muscles get stronger, they're going to get bigger. And as you do get stronger, your ligaments don't keep up with your muscles, so you got to be careful. So when you start taking the steroids, your ligaments aren't getting stronger, but your muscles are. So when you're benching, 400 or 500 pounds, eventually something's going to give. Something's going to break.
They're all benching 400 or 500 pounds.
Well, I assume they are. I was.
Well, look at this. Okay, look at this. My beginning training was powerlifting.
Yeah.
And I went to YMCA that had like shitty weights and bent bars and not much to work with, but we always did bench press, squat, and deadlift because they had powerlifting meets, and I entered them, and I did pretty good. My best bench was 455, and I built a base, and I wasn't doing any drugs at all because back then we didn't know what they were.
Yeah.
It was like drink a lot of milk, like 3 quarts a day, eat a lot of meat.
We
chicken.
were on the same program, Rick.
You know what I mean, right?
I benched every day, though.
Yeah, I mean, I go to dinner with my mom, get Mexican food, and then go home and polish off a quart of milk.
Yeah.
And that didn't set real well on my stomach, but I said, I got to have my protein. No matter what you do and eat, you got to have your protein.
Got to.
And I always eat mine first. And then I don't mix it around. I don't like little veggie, little protein. I get it first. I want the benefit from that. And then the other stuff. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but in my mind, it works for me. So the heavy weights back in those days, without doing any sort of drugs or anything, I was able to gain, I went like 155 up to 200 pounds. Yeah. And that's the base. Yeah. That's your foundation.
Yeah, you got to build a base. And, if you ever decide to take stuff, I found for me that, doing higher reps and pumping the muscle and going for the pump and the burn, I grow better than lifting heavy weights.
Right.
And so taking anabolics, when I decided to take anabolics, it took me a long time to learn this, by the way, so I'm saving you guys about 10 to 15 years of trial and error.
Good. Sure, yeah.
Because it took me 10 to 15 years to learn this. I worked out heavy every day, for years and years and years before I discovered that, I think I walked into Gold's Venice one day and I saw Flex Wheeler, Chris Cormier, and Paul Dillette working out, and they were doing like 40, 50 reps with, 50 pounds. And I was like, what the fuck are these guys doing?
Yeah, that's a lot
Are you
of reps,
kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, and they're 300-pound monsters. And, I could see the pain in their face. I could see them sweating, and I could see their muscles blowing up. And I was like, there must be something to that.
Well, if you're going to do that many reps, what's the recovery time in between?
You know what? The less rest, honestly, to get that really insane pump where it burns and it hurts and you want to stop is, resting less between sets, maybe 30 seconds and just hitting it again.
Okay.
And keeping that burn going the whole workout.
Okay.
And for me, I feel that's what's going to make that muscle grow if you're taking stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Now, if you're not taking stuff, doing 40 or 50 reps I don't think is going to benefit you as much.
You're going to look like a shoestring.
Yeah, it's better to do the heavier weight, lower reps.
Exactly.
And there's misconception. I just wanted to clear that up because people say, well, what about this? What about that? So basically, the answer is different if you're taking stuff or if you're natural.
You remember back in the day when you started training in. Oh God, I'm going way back, even before. But where everybody said, like Steve Reeves, you train your whole body 3 times a week, and that's what they did.
Yeah, everybody did that,
and they built good bodies.
All of them, they all looked great.
3 days a week, and then off every other day.
They weren't eating as much, they weren't taking as much stuff, and they looked better.
Exactly.
So figure that out.
And they weren't doing as many sets.
Yeah.
Every set was 3. Every workout I think was 3 sets of 10. Well, I tried that recently. I did 3 sets, and I had 8 to 10 reps, or maybe a 10 to 12, or maybe 12 to 20. I varied around. I made some pretty good progress on the 3 sets because I wasn't burnt out that 4th and 5th set where you said, I got to do this now. Because training is not supposed to be drudgery. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And when it's not fun anymore, then it becomes a life sentence.
Yeah, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, you're not going to get the benefits. You
Right.
know, if you're doing it, if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to get the same benefits. You know, you have to
Right.
really enjoy it and love it. And another thing is that a lot of people will, you know, argue about what's the best way to train. And the truth of the matter is if you enjoy it and you believe it and your mind believes this is the best way to do it, it's going to work.
Yes.
Whether you're training Dorian Yates style, whether you're training, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger style, it doesn't matter. If you believe it and you're enjoying it and you're killing it in the gym, pushing it to the limit, and your intensity as high as it could be, you're going to get results. And that's the trick. And Arnold used to say that he said that he could walk in the gym and do one set of one exercise and leave the gym, and that one set of one exercise is more productive than most people's 2-hour workout.
That's true.
And I believe that 100%.
That's true.
Because of his mind, his mentality, and you know what he did and how he concentrated and how he squeezed the muscle and the
Right.
pump he got. That's what it's all about. You know, a lot of people never ever understand that aspect of bodybuilding or working out.
No, I was doing shrugs today. I did three sets of 10 reps with 45-pound dumbbells. And there was a young kid next to me down the racks doing 90-pound dumbbells. He's probably 160 pounds, and he was struggling. And I thought, why are you using this heavy weight when I can do this at 45 and my traps are starting to pump, and you're getting nothing out of this?
Yeah.
They're killing themselves with a heavy weight, but they don't know what they're doing, not getting emotion out of it. So going back to natural training, if you're going to use heavy weight, use good form.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I see guys throwing up and arching on their bench press, their stomach scraping on the ceiling just to trying to get that heavy weight up.
And what's funny is they don't look around and observe the more advanced people and see what they're doing. Like they're just blinded to what's going on around them. You know, when I was younger and smaller, I would look at the biggest guy in the gym and I would watch him. And I would make mental notes and I would learn. You know, life is learning. You know, if I see, you know, there's a guy that's successful and he's driving a Bentley and he owns this and owns that business, I'm going to listen to what he's saying because he knows something I don't.
Exactly.
Same with working out. I see a guy that has, you know, incredible shoulders and he's training shoulders. I'm going to sit and watch him.
Yeah.
Even to this day, I will still observe people because I don't think that I can't still learn a lot.
I notice you watching me a lot. There was another guy today, I don't know, he's like mid-20s or something. I wanted to get to the dumbbell rack, and he's right in front of it, and he's doing curls on a bench in front of the dumbbell rack, and then he stands up and does jumping jacks, 40 of them in between. And I wait for him to move, and I thought, I mean, these are the idiots that you see, and you think, why are you doing curls and jumping jacks in between? I mean, what in the world is that going to accomplish?
Yeah.
And he was really into it. He thought he had a great workout going. Obviously, he doesn't observe anybody and watch what they're doing to try to get results because he had no results.
Yeah, it's the new fad. Cross training, you know, is kind of getting big nowadays,
Yeah.
and just a different way of training. And you know, there's fads that come and go as you know, and some of the fads have gotten pretty outrageous lately in the gyms.
Yeah, I mean, and you don't see much results with it. I mean, cross training, if you want to get in shape and be an athlete or a runner, or you're trying to do the aerobic workouts, you can do aerobic workouts with weight too, by the way. It will get you in shape, and you know, even the guys for the UFC are in great shape. I mean, they do a little bit of everything. But you viewers who watch are really into bodybuilding, and bodybuilding takes a different mindset, takes a different type of training, takes a different diet. You know, you just don't cut calories and say I'm losing weight because you'll still retain body fat, right? So you got to cut the carbs, keep your protein high, and that's another concept. People will say, well, if you take high protein, you do low carbs, where do you get the energy to train on? Where do you get it?
My mental strength.
Exactly.
I'm a freaking animal.
Exactly.
As soon as I walk in the gym, I'm ready, no matter what.
It doesn't have to do with all those carbs taking in.
Yeah.
And people question, well, how do you know? Because I've been there and you've been there, and it works. And that's the old days of what Arnold and the guys do. That was very low carb, high protein. And then Sundays was a junk day, and so you ate the junk, and then you felt like shit on Monday, and then you started your diet again.
Yeah.
But you just get a lot of the energy from eating fats as well. But if you have the mindset, like you say, and you go in the gym and you're ready to go to have fun, you'll have fun. I went just the other day and just did arms. I'm just going to do arms today. I got such a pump, I couldn't bend them.
Yeah.
And I've had weeks where I got no pump.
Yeah. That's the greatest feeling, you know, the pump in the gym. And a lot of people don't ever. I've had so many clients that have came to train with me, and they've been training for 15, 20 years, and they've never felt what a pump feels like. They don't even know what it means.
They don't know what it means.
When I explain it to them, they don't even understand what I'm talking about. And so I put them on a machine, and I have them do 40 reps, squeeze at the top, stretch at the bottom, and you know, they stop and they're like, it hurts too much, I can't keep going. I'm like, that's a pump.
That's the point.
They're like, well, I don't like the pump. I'm like, no, you're going to learn to like the pump because that's what's going to make you grow.
Well, when you're training natural, like when you started out and I started out, and you did these workouts and you went heavy, you got to pump every time. You felt it.
Yeah,
you did, and then you got sore. And another misconception is, in order to grow to be a bodybuilder, you don't have to be sore all the time, because if you're sore, you're overtraining.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't want to be sore all the time.
Yeah.
And back then we were doing 3 days a week, and those days off, and I know you were doing 7 days a week, but you need those rest periods. At least rest one of those muscles so it's not working every day.
Yeah.
In order to make growth. All right. So now when you're on the juice, it's a different story. because that gives you your recovery time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my theory, which I say all the time, everyone's heard a million times, and people will still argue it, which cracks me up. But I still say there's no such thing as overtraining. And what I mean by that is, as long as you're eating the necessary nutrients and you're getting the sleep and rest required, there is no such thing as overtraining. And I like to say people that say overtraining are lazy people, and that's their excuse to not train as much as they should. And people will still come out and say, oh, you know, and if I was them, I'd be embarrassed to say that, because they're basically admitting that they're not willing to go in there and spend hours and hours and hours doing what it takes to build a championship physique. If they are the ones that throw that back out at me to say, no, there is such thing as overtraining, you can't, you know, and the guys that I look at are guys that are nowhere near, you know, what I would consider someone to even have an opinion on the subject.
Well, okay,
you know, and you would think they would maybe listen and say, well, maybe there's something to that. You know, maybe there's a reason Arnold trains 6 hours a day, 6 days a week back in his day, and he looked incredible. You know, he was ahead of his time, you know, and now guys are training an hour a day. And the thing is, what people don't understand is that drugs nowadays, there's a pill for everything.
Yes.
So there is ways for people to take the shortcut. And if you do take the shortcuts, you can get away without training as hard, as often, doing cardio, so on and so forth. You know, there's an easy way out for everything, but it's going to have its negatives. Whatever it does for you positive, it's going to do negative. So if you decide to take the easy road, the easy way out, it's not the best choice, and it's going to have its negative side effects.
Of course. There is one thing I'll say about overtraining. I mean, I always felt that I overtrained. I'd train for 2 hours, I'd go drive down the street and almost fall asleep at a stoplight. I was exhausted. And I was doing like 25, 30 sets of body part back then. It was a lot. You know, it's a lot. And when you're done, you're tired. You need a nap, you need to eat, and once you eat and do that, you feel good again. But now at my age, if I train like 5 or 6 days or 7 days or what, I think one of the symptoms of overtraining for me is I get achy, I get a headache, I don't have the motivation to lift the weight, I don't get a pump, and I think, you know what, I need a day off.
You have to listen to your body.
You have to
your body will tell you when you need a day off. It's not about writing it on a little piece of paper and having a program that says 5 days a week I work out, 2 days a week I take a day off. You know, you have to listen to your body. And some days, you know, your day's off Saturday, you feel like training. You wake up and you want to train.
I've done that.
Then you go train. You don't take the day off.
No.
Or you're supposed to train, you don't feel like it, you don't train.
I've gone in the gym when I wake up and I think, I don't know if I really want to train today, but I'll go down, I'll just do cardio. Then I get down and I pick a body part, and oh my God, it was the best workout I ever had.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm really glad I came in.
I've actually gone to the gym. Say it's a Tuesday, and Monday I train chest by myself. Killed chest. I'll walk in, and there'll be a buddy of mine who's, you know, a guy my size. He'll be like, Rich, what are you training? I'll be like, I just came in to, you know, do a little triceps. They're like, oh man, I'm gonna do chest, let's do chest. Come on, man, let's do chest. And I'll be like, I did chest yesterday. They're like, come on, Rich, let's do chest. And I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's do chest. And I'll be doing chest the very next day.
That's funny. That's funny.
Just because he gets, you know, they get me all riled up and I want to train.
And you got somebody there to work against.
Fuck it, let's do it.
So that's the difference between natural and being on the juice. Pretty much, huh?
Yes. And, you know, I'm going to tell everyone out there that if you're natural, I give you a hands up, and you should stay natural as long as you can, build a foundation. And if you build a body on drugs, you're going to have a body on drugs. When you get off the drugs, you're going to lose your body.
You're going to lose your body,
so,
for sure.
You know, you definitely need to build a foundation.
Yeah.
Very important.
Don't go on until you're about 91. All right. Well, thank you. And we're going to go on to other subjects on another show. But this is really good information that you guys really need to use, and take it to heart. Listen to it, listen to Rich, listen to me, because this is information you'll never find anywhere else, right?
And it is hot in the valley.
Yes, it is. It's 102 out here today.
Jesus
sweating.
Christ.
I'm losing weight while I'm sitting here. All right, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more Rick's Corner with Rich Piana. Don't forget to buy your original Gold Gym t-shirt with my signature and the World Gym Gorilla with my signature at bodybuilding.com. Buy it now before they run out.
Drasin.com. He is the equalizer, baby. See you next time.